Hi guys, MrRoflWaffles here. Today we're going to be looking at an interview that Jason Blundell did with Xbox On. He did the interview on the day of release of Zetsubou no Shima on PS4, not on Xbox. So he knew at the time of doing this interview that the stuff that he was saying would only start to surface around about a month after the map had launched on PS4, and so if there was anything he wanted to delay, whether it be an Easter egg hint or a hint towards DLC 3 or 4 or whatever, would be perfect to slide into this interview because it would have that delay on it. So, what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to first of all myth bust something that I think people have been picking up on that is just not really the right lines, it's a bit silly in my opinion, and then we'll be looking at something that might be a tangible piece of evidence towards something bigger going on in Zetsubou. So, without further ado, here's the first clip.
Looking forward to kind of DLC 3 and 4, is there anything that you can give us that we can expect other than just zombies?
I think the thing that I can absolutely guarantee for you is every time we do a DLC and every time we do a zombies map, we cram it absolutely packed full of narrative as we're kind of taking you to this kind of ultimate place in DLC 4, which when you get there, essentially it's going to put braces around the whole 8 years worth of zombie storyline that we've been telling from the very beginning of Nacht at the end of World at War, all the way to the name that I can't tell you right now for DLC 4.
So, Jason says, oh yeah, DLC 4, this ultimate place. And I've seen several people picking up on that and saying, oh, ultimate place, that could mean a new crazy place, or it could mean we're going to Agartha, or it could mean something else entirely. Just no. Pause, hold the phone, okay? Ultimate, in this context, just means last. That's all he's saying. He's saying in DLC 4, which is the last location, the last place, the final place, it's what he's saying there. He's not saying it's the place of ultimate power. He's not saying anything along those lines. He's literally just saying DLC 4 is going to be this ultimate place in the sense that it's going to be this final place. And that, I guess, gives us an idea of the fact that DLC 5, the people that have been screaming from the rooftops, DLC 5 is happening! I'm not so sure it's happening just because of what he's saying here. I think that DLC 5 certainly, if it was to happen in some crazy timeline that isn't the one we currently inhabit, then I don't think it would be story related at all. It would be some other kind of weird bonus thing. I mean, I'm sure Jason has plans for stuff to do after DLC 4. He's a crazy madman, trickster, cheeky monkey just completely through and through, and so I'm sure there's stuff that he'll have coming up, no doubt, but I think that it's safe to say the DLC 5 is sort of off the cards, and similarly, the ultimate place line isn't something we should read into too much. But I do think it's interesting that he says that it's DLC 4 which is going to be putting the brackets on the story. So it sort of sounds like prior to DLC 4 releasing, we won't be able to sort of guess what those brackets are going to manifest themselves as. It's not going to be something we're going to be able to sort of piece together prior. I think it's going to be DLC 4 that will spawn these brackets, and then from that point we'll be able to say, you know what? This story, it has a beginning and it has an end, and oh my, what a day that will be. That's a very exciting thought in my mind, because they can then go another direction and go, okay, we've got this story here, we're going to branch off from this story and do something in the same kind of canon, in the sense that it's the same multiverse, potentially, but it's a different story with different characters in the next Treyarch game, which is super exciting. Anyway, that's just the first clip. Now let's play the second clip, which I think is actually really interesting.
All right, what kind of tips and tricks would you give people?
Perfecting your skills of how to navigate, how to deal with the spatial difficulties, and then the kind of one-off things, be it spiders, be it the thrashers. That's key. Once you've kind of got that, then it's about exploring and looking in unexpected areas.
Yeah.
And then the other kind of key piece of information I'll give you is just a secret to you, as long as you don't share it with anyone else. The key thing I would say is keep looking even after you think everything has ended. That's a special one just for you.
So, like I said at the beginning of the video, Jason knew that this interview would not be going live until around about a month after the map had released on PS4. And so what he's done here is he's given us a little time capsule of knowledge that we're going to be able to potentially use prior to DLC 3 coming out while we continue to explore Zetsubou in looking for more Easter eggs and things like that. So Jason says, just a secret to you, he's talking to Benny and he's like, Bud, I've got you covered. Here's some intel exclusive for Xbox On. He says, keep looking even after you think everything has ended. Now, in itself, that is quite a sort of mundane statement, I suppose. There will no doubt be people that will say, Milo, he's just doing the classic Treyarch thing, and he's saying, you should keep looking in our maps. You should keep playing our game. Of course Treyarch are going to say that. They want us to play the game. They want us to be invested in the mode, and so telling us to keep playing it makes complete sense, right? But I would potentially argue that him saying this means that there is a chance that with Zetsubou, they've taken a little bit of a different approach to what they might usually do, and they've said, guys, we're going to give them the Easter egg, right? Which, when completed, people were like, holy moly, that was quick, 24 hours to solve it? I mean, there's got to be more, right? And people were messaging me that on the day of solution and saying, Milo, that can't be the end. It just can't be. But then the egg itself is fairly lengthy, especially if you get unlucky with your plants or whatever, or if you don't get the missile or something like that. It can be a fairly lengthy egg, so maybe there's not something at the end. But then with this quote here, where Jason is saying, keep looking after you think everything has ended, maybe, just maybe, that means that after you complete the Easter egg, there is something more. There is some kind of addition to the map that is unlocked only when you've completed the egg. I've seen loads of people on Reddit talking about picking up items, for example, after you've completed the egg, and so far that's all been completely incorrect because it's been things like ammo mags on the floor that have been disappearing when people go near them, and so they're like, oh, I just picked something up, holy moly! But it's actually nothing. There have been people also saying that the screams, the hallucinations, that sort of stuff, that changes after the Easter egg, but to my knowledge, that doesn't happen at all. And so clearly the community is doing some searching for stuff, and rightly so, but what Jason has essentially said here is that if you think about stopping searching, you'll be shooting yourself in the foot a little bit, because we've hidden some stuff, man. We've got some stuff in there that is only going to be discovered if you keep digging and digging even after you think everything has wrapped up. He also says in that same interview, actually, that there are things on Horizon that we've not managed to notice for whatever reason, and so I guess that is testament to the fact that Treyarch are really cramming in lots of sort of low-level, very secretive, sneaky stuff that is really difficult for us to spot and find and things like that, just so that the longevity of the map is prolonged as much as possible, because they can say, yep, you've got the main quest, you've got the sort of high-level Easter eggs, the stuff that's fairly obvious, things that they expect us to be getting, but then there's also this sort of undercurrent of really sneaky Easter eggs that we haven't quite picked up on yet. Things that we can't data mine. Things that we can't just go, oh, this item spawns in at a certain set of coordinates, let me just teleport there and look around like what's happening on launch. Like, none of that is going to be possible with these much more sneaky eggs. And I think that this hint about looking for things after the map has already been completed, per se, is very interesting. I think the idea of these brackets is just as fascinating as it has been ever since Jason first originally announced the idea, and I'm just excited for DLC 3 and DLC 4. And what's next? I mean, it's an exciting time to be a Zombies fan. It really is. So thanks for watching, guys. This has been a quick little recap of Xbox On's interview with Jason Blundell. If you want to watch the full interview, there's a bit.ly link in the description, so feel free to go check it out. Benny did a great job of getting a cheeky little interview with Jason on the day of release, and fingers crossed you've enjoyed this video as well. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.